Soundbooth Theater presents Earth Force 2, The Relict Legacy. Written by Shemer Kuznits. Introducing Alejandra LaFleur as Patsy. Featuring Dory Sachs as Lana, and Annie Ellicott as Nori, Caddy, and Unity. Music by Aaron J. Morton. Sound effects by Ahmed Mahmood. Narrated and directed by Jeff Hayes. Chapter 1. Tentative Unity. The ship slowly drifted away from the space station. Unity's shining new armor gleamed in the sunlight. Nori stepped onto the bridge where her friends were already waiting. The tall, lithe navigator was clad in alien-made white armor with golden stripes. Her seat grew up from the floor behind her, snugly forming around her body. She tapped at the light console that appeared before her and scanned through her mini holo monitors.
All systems are good on my end, she reported. Chief?
Bulko, a large, thick-muscled black man, chuckled in his own seat.
Chief, eh? I like that one, Captain. Hull integrity is back to 100%. Life support is fully restored. The damn station robots even fixed the ruptured power conduits and repainted the bulkheads. And the new asteroid cannon has just come online. We're good to go on my end.
He flashed a grin to the dark-haired woman next to him.
Science officer?
Lana smiled widely.
Ooh, I like that job description. Sensors are online and still crappy as ever. Over.
Bulko winced.
There's no need to say over. We're not using walkie-talkies here.
Nori glanced at Nathan's pod. The young technomancer had disappeared into it and hadn't come out yet.
What is he up to? He's been in there for hours.
I'm sure he's doing something super important that will help our mission,
Lana said.
He's all right, the engineer added. He's just turned a little weird since he bonded with the ship. Well, weirder.
I'm good, by the way.
Caddy, their newest crew member and gun specialist, declared from her seat farther toward the back of the bridge.
Just in case you were wondering. All right, setting course for the moon.
Nori started entering commands on her console.
Can anyone please tell me why we're flying over there instead of heading directly to that hammerhead place?
Caddy asked.
I thought we were going there to look for whoever sent the ships that infused the Earth. We found an interesting anomaly while we were on the moon,
the navigator explained.
We want to check it out before we head to Hammerhead Station. Yeah.
The sharpshooter rolled her eyes.
I got that much. But no one explained what sort of anomaly it was.
We don't really know. We detected a strong energy signature coming from a meteor that's half buried on the surface. According to our alien merchant friend, Al Zygo, the sample we brought back was ordinary.
Okay, so we're thinking what? That there's something inside that gives off that energy signature?
Exactly. Worth checking out, don't you think? Also, if we could find a rich aluminum deposit while we're out there, it would be a good idea to mine some of it. Apparently, the stuff is worth a lot at Hammerhead Station. It would also be a good test of Unity's mining capabilities.
Hell, if it's aluminum you want, why not just swoop down to Earth, find an abandoned factory, and take their stash? It's not like anyone's going to miss it. What do you say, Captain? She has a point, Lana.
I guess I just didn't think of that. Stupid of me. I mean, it's not even likely I could detect mineable deposits with our ship's current sensors.
I know where we can get the stuff, Bulko said. There's an industrial strip not far from Diamond's shelter. There are steel mills there, and I bet we can score an aluminum container or two if we look carefully enough.
All right, that settles it then. I'm taking us back down.
Holographic controls appeared out of thin air, wrapping around her fingers, and the navigator slowly turned the ship toward the planet's atmosphere. Caddy sighed at the sight of the Earth getting bigger on their main view screen.
It's like we never left.
It was well past midnight by the time they were done. They'd located a large open yard filled with aluminum parts meant for recycling and, using their anti-grav carrier, they had filled one of the empty containers inside the cargo hold with several tons of the stuff. Bulko yawned loudly once they were airborne again.
I'm not sure I'm up for a mining mission on the moon right now, Captain.
Don't worry,
Nori said as she concentrated, guiding the ship back outside Earth's atmosphere.
You'll have plenty of time to rest along the way.
Aren't we going to use our newly installed null tunnel drive to get there quicker?
No, we can't. That thing is meant for interstellar travel. It's not meant to be used inside a star system. We'll have to rely on our thrusters for that.
Bummer.
I don't mind getting a bit of shut-eye myself. I'm beat. Me too. But the course is set. We'll arrive in roughly 6 hours, so everyone can get a good night's rest while we're en route.
Wait, since the new asteroid cannon is just finished building, shouldn't we start a new upgrade project in the meantime?
The expert tapped her console, and their cargo manifest appeared on the main view screen.
10 tons trinium, 31 tons palladium, 40 kilograms mithril, 22 tons aluminum, 1 personal cargo container.
What's that cargo container?
It's the one Alzygo asked us to transport to a friend of his at Hammerhead.
What?
Didn't I mention it before?
No, girl. You didn't. How much did he pay us for this delivery?
He asked for a favor. It didn't feel right to say no after everything he's done for us.
Like charging us a daily interest on our loan? He's a real humanitarian, that one.
Don't worry about it. It's fine, Lana. Alzygo came through for us. Just next time, check with us first, okay?
Sure.
What's in it?
He just said it's some personal items.
Right. Let's hope he doesn't have us smuggling illegal stuff for him. Would be a real shame to be tossed into jail for breaking alien customs rules.
So, about the upgrade.
What are our options?
Caddy asked. Lana ran her hands over her console and the lines on the view screen changed.
So, this is what we can choose with the resources we currently have.
Mining. 1. Grapplers. Level 1. Trinium. 1,500 kilograms. Configuration. 1. Restructuring. Level 1. Trinium. Based on size. 2. Integral storage capacitors. Level 5. Trinium. 8 tons.
What are integral storage capacitors?
Lana looked at her console at a loss. Then she turned to the pod on her left.
Nathan, time to wake up. I could use your help over here.
The young man's visor became transparent, revealing his smiling face. He nodded at Lana, then he closed his eyes in concentration. The words on the view screen changed.
Integral storage capacitors. Uses the ship's internal cavities and unused space as dynamically shifting storage space. Substantially increases available resource storage as well as streamlines the incoming flow of resources.
It almost sounds like it's going to give Unity a digestive system.
That would also exhaust the majority of our trinium supply. I don't think there's a need for the grappling hook just yet, but we definitely need better facilities. I think we should use restructuring to add some rooms.
Oh, I call Science Lab!
Kitchen! We need an armory first.
Nori threw a quick glance at the engineer. After their fight with the alien scout, who the large man killed with his bare hands, she felt the need to restrict access to the more dangerous forms of alien weapons they had stumbled across. She turned to look at the technomancer.
Can you make it happen?
Nathan closed his eyes. A schematic of the ship appeared on the view screen. A highlighted section appeared inside the cargo hold, taking up about 1/6 of the space. The trinium cost was 1 ton.
If we build it there, it will eat into the cargo hold's storage space.
Yup. And we're going to need that to transport stuff back to Earth. Nathan, can you think of another option?
Yes, though he seemed to have overcome the trauma of seeing his parents torn up by the warped. Nathan still wasn't one for many words. The ship's schematic changed to show it from the side. The middle of the ship expanded upward as if it was inflating. When it was done, there was an entire extra floor above, spanning the full extent of the ship's body. There was enough space for 12 armories.
That would be a nice idea, but it costs 12 tons of trinium and 6 tons of palladium, and that doesn't even factor in the armory cost. We can't afford that. There's definitely enough space there for private rooms, though.
And a science lab!
And a proper workshop.
So everyone thinks we should wait until we have the resources for an extra floor?
Storage capacitors first, Nathan spoke up suddenly, drawing their gazes. More resources. Quicker that way. Nori looked at the surprised faces around her. They were still adjusting to the technomancer's sudden ability to speak. She smiled at the young man.
I think that settles that. Anyone opposed?
Everyone shook their heads.
Then the decision is made. Go ahead, Nathan.
The technomancer nodded and concentrated again. The view screen flickered, displaying a new message.
Integral storage capacitors upgrade 0%.
The bulkheads started emitting groaning noises as they stretched.
Great. Another sleepless night inside a warping, shrieking ship.
The noise is a mere side effect of internal plates shifting. Be assured, it is harmless.
Who said that?
Bulko demanded, raising his fist threateningly with his mechanical puncher at the ready. Nori was holding the Talon. Her formidable alien pistol emitted low yellow light as her eyes scanned over the bridge.
It was I.
A narrow pylon grew up from the floor. As it reached waist level, its top opened and a glowing, half-translucent holographic ball emerged from it.
Nathan, what's going on?
Crew, meet Unity. She can talk now.
My soulmate is correct.
The glowing ball of energy pulsed gently as it spoke.
I am pleased to make your acquaintance. Incidentally, estimated time to complete the upgrade is 48 hours, due to the delicate internal changes required.
Holy shit. You're just messing with us, kid, right?
I'm afraid not. Unity has had a soul since we bonded. Now she has a mind as well.
Nathan? How is that possible?
My soulmate has gifted me with an essence core.
The ball of energy pulsed.
The highly concentrated, pure tech-based component was enough to facilitate full cognitive status.
Soulmate?
The essence core?
Cognitive what now?
Patty tilted her head.
Care to explain, Nathan?
I knew Unity was more than just a senseless machine. Since we forged our bond, she kept talking to me. Not in words, but with intent. When we brought in the essence core we took from the warped broodmother, Unity sensed it and asked me for it. I couldn't refuse.
You should have checked with us first.
You're right, Bulko. But none of us would be alive today without those two, so I say they're entitled to some room to maneuver. That said, Nathan, Lana, you chose me as your captain. But if we want to make this work, everyone has to respect the chain of command. No more making big decisions that affect everyone on your own. Agreed?
The two young people nodded silently.
Good. So, does that mean Unity's a full AI now?
I guess you can say that, but she has a soul in addition to intelligence. What do you call that?
Alive. Is that why she keeps referring to you as her soulmate?
That is correct, expert.
Unity answered.
Unity, can you tell us more about yourself?
I'm a modified space vessel based on a Gretka C9 freighter in Thiblon make. My hull composition is...
No, I mean, what can you do? Can you fly the ship?
No. My main functions remain the same as before, and I require a crew to operate efficiently. I have limited control over secondary subsystems and can provide real-time data.
So, you can basically tell time and open doors?
That is correct. I may also flush the toilet for you. Maintenance logs suggest you have neglected to do that on 2 separate occasions.
Did she just take a shot at me?
I may also provide tactical analysis based on current scenarios. My ability to assist with the ship's operations may improve should you upgrade a few key components. Sensors, mainly.
Nathan, can we trust her?
Yes. Unity always took care of us. That hasn't changed. Lana bowed her head toward the hovering holographic sphere.
Unity, it's a pleasure to meet you.
It is tolerable to make your acquaintance as well, Science Officer Lana.
I can't believe we're talking to a living alien spaceship!
Enjoy the experience. When compared to mutated man-eating cyborgs, it doesn't even hit the top 10 weird list. I'm off to bed.
Unity?
Yes, Captain.
We're on our way to the moon. We're pretty beat. Can you wake us up when we get there?
Of course, Captain.
The tall woman nodded, and with a glance at her friends, she followed the engineer into their living quarters.
You've changed the default alarm sound since last time, right?
Yep. It won't be like last time.
One by one, partitions rose around the crew's bunks, leaving only Caddy sitting on her bed and frowning.
What was last time?
What the hell is this?
It's awful!
Stop!
Nori looked in bewilderment at her friends.
It was just a batucada, Brazilian drum music. Was it too loud? I find it invigorates me in the mornings.
I think I almost prefer the alien screeching alarm.
It's just that... maybe turn the volume down a little bit next time?
Will do.
Nori looked to her sides.
Unity?
Yes, Captain.
Can you give us a status update?
Yes, Captain.
Unity, give us a status update.
Of course. We arrived at our destination 72 seconds ago and are currently following the predetermined flight path into a low orbit.
Give me 5 minutes and then I'm ready to go exploring. Where's the bathroom?
Right here.
Bulko turned toward the wall next to his bed, reaching for his zipper. New partitions rose up to hide what he was doing, to Lana's great relief. Caddy stood staring at the new walls.
That's awkward.
They met on the bridge 10 minutes later, once everyone had had a chance to wash up and grab a quick bite. Nori was back in the pilot seat, and the holographic controls wrapped around her fingers.
I'm about to take us down. Lana, are you still detecting that asteroid's energy signature?
It's still there.
The expert said from behind her console.
At least our crappy sensors are good for telling me that much. I'm sending you the coordinates.
Plotting course.
A dotted red line appeared on the rightmost view screen, and the navigator manipulated the controls to follow it. Unity dove toward the moon's surface. Its craters came into view as they descended. Caddy held her breath as Unity leveled out a few dozen meters above the ground, skimming ahead toward their destination. A large crater appeared on the main view screen a few moments later, and they quickly approached the meteorite embedded within.
So, why are we here again? Didn't that tall alien say the rock was nothing special? That's exactly why we're here.
Nori gently guided the ship to hover above the hole the meteorite had made.
If the meteor itself is not unique, then there's gotta be something inside it that's giving off the energy signature. And how do you plan on checking what's inside? That thing must be 50 meters across.
Remember the brood mother?
I'm trying to forget.
Caddy frowned. Then her eyes widened as she realized what he was hinting at.
Nathan, if you please.
Nori said. The young man nodded and his pod-like chair sealed itself and sank into the floor.
Alter mode engaged.
The entire front of the ship extended, and the corridor that connected it to its main body transformed into a flexible neck. 6 insect-like metallic legs extended out of the hull as the ship descended, easily holding her upright on the dense rock. Unity lowered her head, and a mouth-like hatch opened up at the bottom. The ship hummed louder, and a giant beam of concentrated energy started burrowing into the meteor. The main view screen changed to display the blazing hole that had begun to form.
That's interesting. A new screen just appeared. Looks like a close proximity geological scanner. It was probably part of the excavator we absorbed. Anyway, it shows the composition of the mined material. Looks like this thing contains mostly iron and nickel, which Unity can harvest.
So it's rare and expensive, right?
No. It's very common and cheap. Before the calamity, they used to make rechargeable batteries out of it.
Oh, that doesn't necessarily mean it's worthless,
Nori said.
Remember Alzygo said Hammerhead Station buys all types of minerals? We should take some with us. Who knows? It might be worth something to someone.
Well, this rock is made of about 20% of the stuff. We've already collected 200 kilos, and we're only 2 meters deep. At this rate, assuming what we're looking for is in the center, it'll take us about 2 hours to get there, which should net us about 2 tons of the stuff.
Or we could strip mine this thing completely. We have 4 containers on board. Each one has a 100-ton capacity, and they're mostly empty.
But it'll take a week to fill them up.
Might be worth it.
Let's first reach the center and see what's in there. We can decide what to do afterward.
Bulko touched a finger to his temple.
Ah, Captain.
They passed the time as Unity kept on digging by familiarizing themselves with the ship's systems. Caddy had her hopes smashed as she tried to operate the gunner position, only to be shot down with a message stating she had to be level 10 to access the controls.
It's not fair! My path lets me use weapons way above my normal level, but I can't use a stupid cannon whose main function is to shoot at rocks? Don't worry about it.
Nori practiced operating the null tunnel drive.
I'm sure that once we reach an alien outpost, you'll have plenty of opportunities to use your own weapons. Lana? She's joking, right?
I really hope so.
2 hours later, the newly minted science officer called.
We're getting closer to the center. The energy signature is much stronger here. Nathan, you should tone the beam down a bit.
There was no response from the half-sunken pod, but a moment later, the ambient hum eased and the main view screen showed Unity's beam thinning, peeling the rock a centimeter at a time.
Stop!
The beam instantly died, revealing a hollow pocket inside the stone. A dim green light emanated from it.
What the hell is that thing?
Bulko leaned forward as if getting closer to the screen would grant him a better view.
Lana, anything on sensors?
Sorry, Captain. All I can say is that it gives off an energy signature about as powerful as our shuttle. Whatever's inside, it's not something our sensors are equipped to handle.
Is it dangerous?
I don't think so. At least the sensors don't pick up any signs of harmful radiation. They are good for that much, at least.
I've watched enough sci-fi horror flicks to know you do not want to approach an ominous green glow, especially one found at the heart of an asteroid. It always leads to alien viruses, alien body snatchers, and alien... Well, you get my drift.
I don't know. Venom was sorta cool, though.
No, we just burrowed through 20 meters of dense rock. Whatever's inside must have been there for thousands, maybe even millions of years. Nothing biological would survive that long.
It doesn't have to be biological to be fatal.
Do you prefer we just leave?
He frowned at her, but didn't answer.
So, who's going out to pick it up?
Lana tapped her teeth.
It should be someone strong enough to pick up what's in there, and preferably a person who can use tools to hold it away from him.
What are y'all looking at? Oh, hell no.
He crossed his arms over his chest.
You're not sending the only black guy out there. We all know how those movies end.
Lana's expression turned mournful, and her lower lip started to tremble.
Please? It's just us 3 small women here.
She glanced at Nathan's sunken pod.
And you're such a big and strong man.
Don't give me that, Missy. I'm almost old enough to be your father. Fine. I'll go out and grab that alien piece of doom. You just stay here, all safe and sound.
Don't be so negative. Maybe it'll give you superpowers?
You too?
You have your spacesuit on you?
Nori asked.
Yeah. I'll get into the cargo hold and close the door behind me. The smaller exit is protected by a force field, but it is better to not risk venting the entire ship by accident.
Good luck!
Yeah, right. Y'all white ladies got nothing to worry about out there. I'm ready. Opening the door, and I'm outside.
Lana waved her hand over her console, and the view screen shifted to display the engineer. He walked slowly, his zero-grav boots steadying him on the moon's low gravity. He reached the 3-meter diameter hole Unity had burrowed through the rock and looked inside.
I can see the light down there at the end of the tunnel.
It's a gradual descent. Shouldn't be a problem for you to get down there.
I'm mostly concerned with getting back out.
Still, he approached the entrance and started walking down the perfectly circular tunnel.
Well, what do you see?
It's just a piece of glowing broken metal.
I should have gone down there instead of him. I could have pretended to be sucked into the pocket by a monster or something. That would have been a golden opportunity to pay back Brainiac for that stunt she pulled on me back at the space station.
I'm coming back now.
Bulko turned toward the ship. They could see the thin robotic arms of his multi-purpose augmentation tool stretched ahead of him, holding a palm-sized glowing item. The engineer entered the ship and returned to the bridge. He tugged at his spacesuit and it unfolded on its own, melting from around his body and into a thick belt around his waist.
I'm not an expert or anything,
the sharpshooter said nervously.
But shouldn't we have put that thing through decontamination or something before bringing it inside?
I'm the expert. And we don't have anything like a containment chamber. Maybe we can add it onto the list, Nori?
Maybe.
Nori studied the alien object. It looked like a piece torn off a metal plate. It was partially curved on one side and jagged on the other. It was about a centimeter thick and had weird geometric lines etched over it. The lines were emitting the faint green glow, though they were quickly dimming.
Relict shard. Unknown.
Wow. This thing just showed on my view as a relict shard.
Caddy frowned.
What does it mean? What's a relict? Supposedly, they are the ancient aliens who created the tech.
Nori answered.
They're supposed to be extinct. And we have something that used to belong to them? That's gotta be worth something, right?
Probably. Definitely more than a few tons of common minerals.
I agree. I don't think there's any point wasting a few more days mining the meteor. We should get back to our plan.
Sounds good to me.
So, does that mean... Uh-huh. It's time to test our new drive engine.
Chapter 2. Hammerhead Station.
Everyone ready?
Nori asked tensely, her eyes scanning the bridge. The rest of the crew was securely seated in their chairs. They had finished all the systems checks, and Lana had already plotted a course toward Hammerhead Station. All that remained was for the captain to hit the go button. Lana swallowed hard.
I think I'm ready. We're not going to explode, right, Bulko?
We shouldn't.
The chances of activating the new drive leading to catastrophic failure is estimated at 2.8%.
Unity's voice said calmly. Lana shrank in her chair.
Maybe we should...
Yeah, let's do it!
Caddy cried, her eyes full of excitement.
No going back now.
Nori tensed up in her seat, then hit her console. The view of the stars on the main monitors flickered. The space around them seemed to warp, turning into a funnel-shaped tunnel. Instead of flying into it, it looked like the tunnel was approaching them. Through the wavering walls of the spatial shaft, the stars started shifting. Every few seconds, the millions of celestial bodies around them seemed to shuffle as they continued their non-existent progress.
What's going on?
Caddy asked, frowning at the confusing display.
I'm not sure. Lana?
Give me a sec. This is weird. I'm not sure how this null tunnel drive works, but it says here it's capable of 60 verse jumps per hour.
Oh, crap.
What's wrong, Nori? Do you know what a verse jump is?
Not exactly, but I just realized something. Here, check this out. This is a partial map of the galaxy. We're here. And here's Hammerhead Station.
Red dots blinked into life, seemingly only centimeters away from each other on the vast, starry sky. Bulko frowned.
Yeah? So?
Nori pressed a few more buttons, and a red line extended between the two dots. A line of text appeared above it. 2131VJ.
Crap.
Shoot. I still don't get it.
I didn't know what it meant at first,
Nori said.
but I think it's safe to assume that the number indicates the distance. The station is over 2,000 verse jumps away from us.
So, if we can only do 60 per hour...
It means we'll arrive in 35 hours! Damn, I should have brought a Sudoku book with me. Or any other book for that matter.
It's not Unity's fault, Nathan said. Her original drive could make it to 200.
And the specs on the Scout's drive we scavenged said 240. It's too small for Unity, and that's why we can only do 60. I should have added some nitro injectors while I was installing it.
So, what are we going to do for the next 35 hours?
Caddy asked.
I'm already starting to get bored.
Before we left, I downloaded the scout ship's navigational data. I didn't have time to add it to our databank, so this is a good opportunity to do that. I also wanted to explore some of Unity's systems more deeply. There are quite a few of them I'd like to know better.
Me too.
Nori said.
There's a lot of stuff we still don't know. We're relying on the tech to guide our hands while we're operating a technology we can barely understand.
I guess this is a good opportunity for me to get better acquainted with Unity's inner parts.
Ugh, that doesn't sound good now that she can talk.
That is quite all right, Science Officer. I would also appreciate a chance to learn more about the Engineer Zone inner parts.
Okay, this time she did it on purpose, right?
Bulko?
Nori was already back at her console.
Yes, Captain?
Give it a rest.
Yes, Captain.
They each turned to their own tasks. There was a small tick sound as the display on the view screen changed.
Integral storage capacitors upgrade, 11%.
Damn it, Nori! That's not funny anymore!
Caddy rubbed her bleary eyes.
Have we arrived already? I'm still dead tired.
The partitions around their beds lowered, revealing the 5 crew members.
I gave you 10 hours advance notice. You could have turned in sooner.
Well, yeah, I wasn't tired back then. It must be what? Around midnight back on Earth?
1 a.m. EST.
Unity answered smoothly, her purple glowing orb drifting into the living quarters.
We've got another hour before we arrive.
Nori said.
Let's get ready.
Everyone nodded and started preparing. Bulko whipped up a plateful of his large sandwiches and brewed a pot of coffee for everyone. After they washed up and ate, they headed toward the bridge and assumed their seats.
We're about to come out of the Null Tunnel. Unity, can you give me a countdown?
Of course, Captain. Exiting Null Tunnel in 3, 2, 1, now.
The skewed view of the stars shifted as the funnel-shaped tunnel dissipated, returning the space around them to normal. 3 bright stars filled their view screen.
We have arrived at the Alpha Centauri system.
Unity's glowing orb informed them as it pulsed.
Oh, wow! 3 suns.
Caddy said. Bulko frowned as he looked at the starry view on the main monitors.
I don't see any station around here.
I'm picking up a signal from Hammerhead.
Lana said as she pored over her mini consoles.
Thanks to spending the last day and a half learning alien communication protocols, among other things, I can now tell this is an automated greeting. We've been assigned a flight path to avoid other spacecraft. Forwarding it to your console, Nori.
Got it. Thanks, Lana. Following course, we should arrive within 10 minutes.
They watched the main view screen in silence as the ship's thrusters brought them closer to one of the many hovering specks in the space around them.
Zooming in.
The speck grew larger. The human's eyes roamed over it hungrily, taking in the alien sight. Hammerhead Station was huge. It was built on top of a large asteroid that was easily 10 kilometers across. Tall metal spires and transparent domes covered the majority of the flying rock surface. The traffic was thick around it, with a throng of shuttles and small spacecraft flying in and out. Several giant cruisers floated away from the station, their size obscuring some of the view.
Holy cow! There must be hundreds of ships down there! We're being hailed.
Greetings, Unity. Our records show this is your first visit to Hammerhead Station. Please state your purpose.
Greetings, Hammerhead. We are, a mining freighter. We're looking to sell some of our cargo and maybe buy a few upgrades.
Do you belong to any of the licensed mining factions?
Lana looked uncertainly at her friends, who shrugged at her.
No.
You may use Docking Bay 57. Docking fee for independent commercial vessels is 2,000 Pytek per one rotation. You may freely sell cargo directly to the station's authorities, but there's a 20% tax for trading with independent merchants. The tax goes up to 60% for Nadirium. Personal sidearms are allowed on the station, but nothing bigger than that. Violence inside regulated areas is strictly forbidden and punishable by the immediate seizure of all your assets, ship included. I'm sending you the station's full rules manifest. I suggest you study it carefully before coming aboard. Any questions?
Nori waved to draw Lana's attention, then put both hands to the sides of her cheeks, fanning her fingers sideways.
Oh yeah! Hammerhead, we've been sent here by Alzygo. I believe he's the brother of the station's owner. Hammerhead Station?
One moment, please. I'm contacting the administrator. Unity, you are cleared to dock at Docking Bay 003. Your docking fee has been waived.
Great, thanks!
You are welcome.
Well, at least that tall alien freak was good for something. Can you believe they wanted to charge us 2,000 Pytek per day?
Per rotation.
What's the difference?
This system has 3 stars, which means it's always daytime. According to my readings, the station completes a rotation every 58 hours. When compared to Earth days, you may consider the fee as 830 Pytek per day.
That's not much better. And what's up with their taxes? 60% of anything is just crazy.
The station grew larger as the ship flew on, following the dotted red line stretched across their navigational system. As they drew near, they could see that some of the taller buildings were hundreds of meters tall. The largest dome spanned across 2 kilometers. Their path led them to the tallest building, a hulking construct of silvery metal with several large balconies extending from it. Some of the balconies were empty, and others had shuttles or small vessels on them. Unity flew over to the 3rd highest balcony. As they started to land, several robotic arms emerged from the floor, gently cradling the ship into a landing position.
At least we're no longer scraping the bottom of the ship. Landing on the moon did a real number on her paint job, let me tell you that.
What paint job? All she has is her name on this side. Besides, doesn't the new plating protect against stuff like that?
What paint job? I worked hard on that shit. It looks good.
What was that?
Leave him be, Caddy.
Nori carefully studied the automated landing gear.
It's a guy thing. They don't like having their cars, or spaceships, poorly handled.
Ah, figures.
A series of clicks sounded as clamps locked around the ship, holding her in place.
All right, let's go.
Nori got up, and her seat melted back into the floor.
Let's greet the natives.
They stood up and followed the navigator to the cargo hold. Unity's flying orb of energy followed. Once in the cargo hold, Caddy picked up an automatic shotgun she kept in one of the boxes.
Caddy, you heard what they said. Only sidearms are allowed.
What?
Caddy looked up at her innocently. She tapped the large weapon strapped on her left.
It's on my side!
You can have my zapper.
Lana offered her the small alien pistol she carried. The sharpshooter woman waved her off.
No, it's all right. I'm good.
She put down the shotgun and picked up a long-barreled pistol instead and fitted it with a warped Buster magazine. To Lana's eyes, it didn't look much smaller than the shotgun. The cargo door lowered, revealing the balcony behind it and a wide gate that led into the building. A tall alien, with a skeletal-looking face that sported two opposite jaws, was leaning against the side walls. Lana's eyes widened as her sensor enhancement implant picked up the creature's details.
Hyzar, XR, level 24. Faction, Toref clan. Path, broker, administrator, unknown. Highest attribute, intelligence. Number of implants, 23.
Humans.
The alien stepped forward, his gaze sweeping over them.
My name is Hyzar. I understand you have been sent by my brother.
Bulko eyed the tall alien warily. He was wearing imposing full-body armor that looked thick enough to stop everything short of an anti-tank missile. Nori stepped forward.
I'm Nori, the ship's captain. Yes, Alzygo said we should drop his name to get in touch with you. Said you might be able to help us get around the station.
The creature's double jaws opened into an alien smirk.
Did he now? How accommodating of him. How is my little sibling doing in that desolate part of the galaxy? Is he swimming in Pytech already?
He's doing all right. Our planet has only recently been infused, so our resources are limited. But we've already broken a few profitable deals with him.
A few profitable deals? That rusty, outdated station he bought will be his undoing. He should have cornered a strategically valued mining spot, as I did.
The alien patted his impressive armor.
Do you have any idea how much Pytech I'm earning here?
Lana moved forward.
No, but it takes over 8 million tech to reach your level, so I'm guessing you're pretty rich.
The small human female knows what she's talking about.
Hyzar grinned at her.
You're right, of course. I could even afford to purchase level 25 if I really wanted to.
So why don't you?
There are reasons. Most civilians wouldn't dare raise above level 9. It puts too much of a target on their back. But here, at my station, I'm the one holding all the power. Still, it's not a good idea to go around showing off excessive wealth. Don't you agree?
He winked at Lana.
I'd like to thank you for allowing us to dock here. I'm guessing this spot is usually reserved for important people?
You are correct, human. This is one of my personal pads, meant for my richest clients. But since you know my younger sibling, as long as you are here, you are my guests. You can find some of the finest traders and best items in the star system right here, in this tower. It is quite safe. Security is high, so everyone conducts themselves well. You may go visit the other wards if you like. But be warned, they have their own rules down there.
I'm guessing those other wards aren't considered part of the regulated areas.
You catch on quickly, human. That is good.
He brought his forearm up to his chest level and started tapping a small light console that appeared above it.
As a courtesy to my brother, I'll waive your docking fee and any taxes for a full rotation. I'm also giving you a 10% discount on the station's services and a 10% markup for selling your wares directly to us. If you'd like to tour the station, I'll arrange for a guide to show you around. Hammerhead can take a little getting used to for newcomers. All done. I hope you enjoy your stay with us. Inform my little brother he owes me one next time you see him."
With that, he turned and left, and the wide gateway closed noiselessly behind him.
What a prick.
Bulko turned toward his crewmates.
Better not make him angry, though. My path lets me see a threat assessment on possible targets, and it kept screaming at me that this guy was way out of our league.
I could only see his first 2 paths. Being level 24 means he's gotta have at least 5, right? It's no wonder your threat assessment was acting up.
Nori stepped forward and held her palm horizontal above the floor.
What are you doing, Nori?
Checking the local services.
A pole grew out of the floor, reaching up to the navigator's hand. A thin strip spread sideways from the top, creating a rectangular frame. Screens and monitors flickered to life within the frame. Nori pressed on the center one. A message flashed across the monitor.
Scanning ship. Completed. No malfunction detected. Basic upgrades recommended. Ship's cargo manifest. Trinium, 2 tons. Sell price, 660 per ton. Palladium, 31 tons. Sell price, 880 per ton. Mithril, 40 kilograms. Sell price, 550 per kilogram. Aluminum, 22 tons. Sell price, 440 per ton. Nickel iron, 2 tons. Sell price, 220 per ton.
Interesting.
Nori's eyes scanned through the next few lines of text.
We can sell the resources we mined right here. Looks like Alzygo's tip paid off. Aluminum is pretty valuable. We can sell it all right here for almost 10,000 Pytech.
That's not all that much. We should hold on to it for a while. If it's that rare, maybe there's someone else who will pay more for it.
All right. There's also a recommended upgrades section here. Let's check it out.
Recommended upgrades. Sensors, Grade E, 31,500 Pytech. Prospecting scanner, Grade E, 22,500 Pytech. Internal diagnosis scanner, Grade E, 10,800 Pytech. Null tunnel drive, Grade F. Size appropriate, 72,000 Pytech. Price adjusted to account for reimbursement for sale of the existing unit. Power core, Grade E, 135,000 Pytech. Basic beam cannon, Grade F, 45,000 Pytech. Force shield, Grade F, 58,000 Pytech.
Wow. I kept saying our sensors were crap, and it looks like this diagnosis agrees with me. Almost half the suggested upgrades are for sensors.
And they don't come cheap. I'd love us to have a proper cannon and shields, but they're expensive. And it looks like we have to upgrade our power core before we could even get them. And check out the null tunnel drive. One that matches Unity costs over 70 grand on top of the one we've scavenged from the scout ship.
Unity's glowing sphere exited the ship and hovered next to them.
I would recommend getting the drive upgrade as soon as possible.
Wait, you can come along with us?
Lana looked with amazement at the glowing sphere of light.
No, I may only move freely in the vicinity of my body. Current range estimated at 70 meters.
Caddy looked at Nathan.
That's pretty cool.
The young man lowered his eyes shyly.
In any case, unless the null tunnel unit is replaced, the chance of catastrophic failure increases by 0.3% every time the drive is used.
I'm on board with doing that upgrade. I'm not a big fan of the whole exploding ship thing.
Nori pursed her lips as she browsed the console.
I wish there was more data here. These titles don't explain much.
May I?
Be my guest.
As soon as the younger woman approached the console, a second frame grew atop of the first one and quickly filled up with more hollow monitors. The expert's hands ran across the various consoles, and soon the monitors filled with rolling lines of text.
Got it. It's all here. You just need to know how to ask the system nicely.
Bulko, towering behind her, looked down at the screens.
So, beam cannons are effective against armor and weak against shields. That's good to know. We already upgraded our plating, so maybe we should aim to get the force shield next. Make Unity more durable.
I'm all for that, but we only have 28,650 Pytech at the moment. Even if we sell all our palladium and aluminum, we'll have barely 60,000. That's still not enough for anything that requires the power core upgrade.
Guys, we should definitely get the sensors. They are so much better than what we have now. With these, we can identify other ships, locate small energy signatures. The resolution alone is about 5 times what we now have. If I had it back on Earth, I could have picked up the warped attack on our shelters from orbit.
You make a good point. I think the sensors are definitely our first priority. Then we should think about how to get the required funds to upgrade our drive engine. I don't think it's a good idea to use it again until it's fully operational. And we need better weapons. With time, I bet we can use Unity's own upgrade options to increase our defenses. But as a freighter, there's no option to increase her firepower.
Unity is also a mining ship. With the prospector scanner, we'll be able to find and mine more resources. We can use them to upgrade her directly or sell to buy upgrades.
Nathan has a point.
Have you looked around? This star system is teeming with mining ships. I'm betting most of them have sensors better than grade F. I doubt we could find anything worthwhile with them around. Let's sell enough palladium to get the sensors upgrade. Then we can look around the station to get a feel for the place. We still need to scout out information on the mysterious source that sent the ships to Earth.
We also need to deliver that package Alzygo gave us.
And look for someone willing to buy our cargo for a better price.
Caddy added with a greedy glint in her eye.
I'll go get the package.
Bulko walked back into the ship.
I'll order the sensor upgrade. I'm selling 5 tons of palladium. It's a little more than what we need for the upgrade, but I don't think we want to go around the station broke.
Good idea.
Several robotic arms grew from the side of the balcony and dipped into the ship's roof, which opened up on its own. The arms started removing large chunks of the alloy and deposited it somewhere below the balcony. A small port opened on the side of the console's frame.
Alright, so, minus the cost of the palladium, we need just 27,100 more Pytech. Nori?
Right.
The navigator shook herself from watching the robotic arms and took out a teardrop-shaped item from her pocket. She manipulated the Pytech, separating it into 2 parts, giving the larger one to Lana.
That leaves us with 1,550 Pytech. I hope it'll be enough for now.
We can always sell more of our cargo if we need to.
Lana inserted the gem into the console's port.
Sensors, Grade E, upgrade, commencing. Time to completion, 5 hours, 22 minutes.
Bulko came out of the ship, carrying a medium-sized chest beneath his muscular arm.
I'm good to go.
Then let's go.
They walked toward the large gate. It opened automatically, revealing a screen of blue light that completely filled the entrance.
What is that?
Caddy stopped to gawk at the light.
That is a scanning field.
Unity's orb pulsed.
It is harmless.
Oh. Let's go then.
One by one, they passed through the blue screen of light. Lana's head peeked back.
Coming, Nathan?
The technomancer nodded, took a deep breath, and turned to follow his friends. Chapter 3. Patsy. They followed a spiraling corridor along pristine white walls, eventually reaching a wide, transparent tube. A woman was standing there waiting, and she gave them all a big, friendly smile.
Patsy York, demi-human, level 3. Path, concierge. Highest attribute, appeal. Number of implants, 4.
Lana gaped at the alien woman. Patsy was breathtakingly beautiful. She looked remarkably like a normal human woman, except her waist was unusually slim and she had especially pronounced high cheekbones. She looked exotic. Caddy was a little less subtle in her scrutiny.
Oh. Wow.
She said, as she eyed the alien woman appreciatively.
Hello.
The woman smiled at them, exposing perfect white teeth.
I was so pleased when the administrator asked me to be your guide. He neglected to mention how dashing you all are.
She studied them, and her eyes lingered on Bulko's muscular arms.
And so... strong.
A pleasant tingle ran through Lana's spine. The woman's voice was rich and caressing. She didn't swing that way, but she could picture herself lying down, listening to the woman's voice for hours.
Hi.
Nori seemed unaffected by the alien woman's unearthly beauty.
Your name is Patsy York? That's a very human name.
Thank you.
She curtsied with the elegance of a ballet dancer.
My purpose is to please. If there's anything I can do for you, don't hesitate to ask.
She eyed Bulko appreciatively.
What was that blue screen back there?
Nori pointed her thumb behind her.
Oh, that?
The woman gave her another radiant smile.
It was a standard scanning field. It helps prevent smuggling of weapons or contraband into the station, even if they're hidden in an individual's personal storage space.
What's a personal storage space?
Caddy asked. She looked at her friends.
Is this another one of those things I missed 'cause I joined last?
No.
Nori arched an eyebrow at the alien woman. The beautiful woman put a hand over her mouth and giggled delightedly. She lowered her arm, and her eyes sparkled.
As your guide, I'm more than happy to answer all of your questions. Observe.
She snapped her fingers, and suddenly, a silver item the size of a finger appeared in her palm. With another chuckle, she rolled open the lipstick and ran it over her already perfectly sculpted lips. With another flick of her fingers, the item disappeared.
See? Simple.
Personal storage space. She means an inventory, like in computer games.
Oh, I remember how Zygo made some items appear in his hand. Back then, I thought it was just some sort of alien shtick.
The Amphidlon scout who attacked us also made a weapon appear in his hand.
Nori drew out the talon from her belt and concentrated on the alien pistol. Nothing happened.
No, silly.
Patsy chuckled, the sound as pleasant as tiny bells.
You need a special implant for that. And it mostly works with small items, though higher-level individuals can use advanced implants for heavier items.
Definitely something we want to learn more about.
Just add it to the list. Let's call it item 300.
Oh my! You are as funny as you are handsome. May I start by showing you around the administrator's tower? We have lovely gardens, a variety of luxurious spas, and...
She locked eyes with the large engineer.
Intimate, soundproof hotel rooms.
Nori rolled her eyes.
We're not here for a vacation, lady. Right now, we're looking for someone willing to buy aluminum at a markup.
We have many wealthy merchants staying in the tower. I'm sure we could find someone to do business with you.
All right. Show us the way.
Into the elevator, please.
The woman turned, and the transparent tube opened to admit them. A light console activated, and the beautiful woman pressed a few glowing keys.
This will take us to the tower's business area. This will only take a moment.
The elevator started moving, and the white walls around them blurred. Lana could have sworn they were moving sideways as well as downward, but the built-in inertial dampeners made it hard to judge the motion, and she had to rely on her blurry sight alone. A moment later, the elevator's door opened, revealing a large hall. There were dozens of aliens milling around displays showcasing devices for sale. The aliens wore spotless clothes and high-tech body armor. As Patsy led them through the hall, Lana got the feeling they were infringing on a millionaire's private party. Nori stepped closer to a raised platform and examined a piece of large machinery with two humming, glowing orbs on its sides.
Plasma cannon. Unknown.
Ah! You have an excellent eye!
A smartly dressed, short, green alien approached the navigator. Nori glanced down at him.
Twisk. Aki. Level 9.
The alien tapped the piece of equipment.
This right here is a Grade B Carnifex plasma cannon. This weapon can take down a Cordelin destroyer in a single shot. It can be yours for the bargain price of 5 million Pytek. It also comes with a complimentary 2-year warranty. What do you say?
No thanks.
Nori stepped back.
Wait!
The meter-tall alien closed in on her.
We have a special offer. This day only. If you buy it now, I'll even throw in a grade C beam modulator.
Nori gave him a cold look.
What can I get for 1500 Pytech?
Twisk took a step back.
Are you making fun of me?
Nope. It's all I have.
The small green man's expression instantly turned hostile.
Who let you in here? This place is meant for high-end buyers, not riffraff. Get the hell out and stop wasting my time.
With pleasure.
The tall woman walked back toward her friends. She shot a withering look at their exotic guide.
There is nothing for us here. We can't afford even the smallest item. From what Hyzar told us, the other wards might have what we're looking for, so let's go to someone who'd be interested in buying our aluminum.
Another ward? Oh no, you don't want to go there. It's filthy, and the people there are rude. How about I'll show you our award-winning gymnasium instead? We have a zero-G court that will take your breath away.
Listen here, Missy. You either take us where we want to go, or we'll ditch you and go looking on our own.
Now. There's no need for that, Captain.
Bulko spoke up. He looked at Patsy and smiled.
I'm sure she'll take us wherever we ask her to. Isn't that right, Panda Bear?
Panda Bear?
Ooh, I like that. It's got such a nice ring to it.
So, you'll take us?
Of course I will, silly. I have a few connections on the Foundry Ward. I'm sure we can find someone who's willing to buy your cargo.
They followed her back into the elevator and took a much longer ride downward. At long last, the door opened, revealing the area outside the tower. Pieces of the asteroid's rocky surface could be seen beyond the metal platform, and an energy dome was visible above.
That is the atmospheric shield,
Patsy explained, following their gazes.
It keeps the air inside, but it's not powerful enough to stop attacks or even debris from falling in. That's why most of the station's population stays inside physical domes. They have their own atmospheric regulators, just like the towers.
Good to know. Where to?
We take the tram.
The alien woman gestured at a bullet-shaped vehicle a little way from them that was hovering inside a transparent tube. As they walked toward the tram, they passed through several alien stalls.
Holy cow!
Getty exclaimed and ran to a booth manned by a snail-like alien. Dozens of alien weapons in all shapes and sizes were on display. Lana recognized several beaten-looking zappers. The sharpshooter lifted a splotchy brown rifle with intersecting tubes and held it to her shoulder. A holographic screen popped open in front of her eyes, highlighting possible targets.
Oh my!
She looked at the literally slimy merchant.
How much?
Several eye stalks grew from the top of the creature's head and turned toward the excited woman.
This one is a collector's item, but I'm willing to part with it for a mere token of 5,000 Pytech.
Nori was eyeing a different booth showcasing several beaten-looking sets of mechanized armor and exoskeletons.
We're the first humans ever to visit an alien settlement, and the first thing the girls want to do is go shopping.
Lana was eyeing another booth showcasing implants and augmentations. She turned to the engineer indignantly.
Hey, we're only looking.
That's fine, but don't get too attached to anything. Everything here is crap. Trust me, I'm an engineer.
Patsy sauntered over to Bulko and rested her hand on his arm.
This magnificent man is right. There are numerous stalls such as these scattered all over the station. Their wares are mostly low quality and barely worth the time looking at them. The premium items are sold in the tower.
She pointed her chin at the towering structure they just came out from.
If you'd like, I can...
No, we're not interested in premium. Decent quality will do just fine. But first, we need a buyer for our cargo.
Very well. We need to board the tram.
They followed her into a partially transparent capsule. It sped forward as soon as they were all seated.
Please enjoy the view. The ride will only take a few minutes.
Lana stared at the view outside the windows. The capsule went into a tunnel, passing through another tower, then angled downward into the ground. The rocky terrain flashed by for several long moments, then they zoomed back to the surface, to what Lana assumed was the other side of the asteroid. A gigantic metal dome appeared ahead, and the capsule shot straight toward it, entering through a narrow entrance. The dome's interior was full of smog and artificial red light. They finally came to a stop at an open square. They exited the capsule, noticing many others like it depositing and picking up passengers.
This is the Foundry Dome. It's the largest on the station. This way, please.
She led them between crude buildings that seemed to be made from the asteroid itself. It was discernibly dirtier than the Administrator's Tower, with soot covering many of the walls. Sounds of heavy machinery could be heard all around them.
What are those?
Nori motioned at one of the crude structures.
This dome hosts the foundries and mills that process the resources mined from the nearby asteroid field. This section houses the workers. My contact lives not far from here. This way, please.
Lana warily eyed several tough-looking aliens who were glaring at them. Her fingers inched toward the small zapper at her belt.
Are we in any danger?
Oh no, my dear. There is some malcontent among the workers, but this dome is strictly controlled by the Administrator. No violence is allowed here. We are quite safe. Ah, here we are.
She led them to a seemingly unremarkable house. Like most of the others, the structure was built directly into the asteroid, but its metallic roof was unlike those of the other nearby buildings. Patsy waved her hand in front of the door, and a light console appeared with a gentle chime. They waited for a few seconds, then the door slid upward and an Enthidlon stepped out of it.
Trigak. Enthidlon. Level 5. Path. Metallurgist. Fusion.
Nori put a firm hand on Volko's shoulder, who instantly tensed up at the sight of the blue creature.
Yes?
The alien's gaze swept over them, then stopped as he looked at their guide.
Patsy? Cute. What do you want?
Trigak. At the behest of the Administrator, I'm showing these fine visitors around. They have some aluminum to sell.
So, you naturally thought of me, eh?
He turned to address the group of humans. He crossed his arms, blocking the entrance to his house.
All right. So who did you rob the aluminium from?
Nori stepped forward.
No one. We brought it with us from our home planet. Heard there's a market for it over here.
The alien grinned at her, and the fleshy bristles on his face swayed gently at the movement.
You're right about that. Something about this star system's composition makes aluminium extremely rare. And, since it's nearly as cheap as dirt in most other systems, selling it here at even 10 times markup makes hauling it here barely worthwhile. Which, in return, helps keep the price high.
Why do you need it anyway? And shouldn't the price skyrocket since it's so rare?
Many common alloys require aluminium to synthesize. Trinium, for example. Since the alloys aren't that expensive on their own, there's a thin profit margin for selling aluminium. Most freighters won't bother making a special trip for such a low profit. The closest civilized place with aluminium is in the Kratos system, 10 light years away from here. On top of that, the station's taxes are set to regulate the quantities of imported minerals to avoid inflation.
So how much are you willing to pay? The Enthidlon looked the large man up and down. He seemed to come to a decision and uncrossed his arms.
Come inside and let us discuss the issue.
Patsy followed in without question. After only a slight hesitation, Nori followed, leading the others inside. To Lana's surprise, the house's rough exterior didn't reflect the interior. The walls were smooth and clean, if not pristine white like in the Administrator's Tower. Several comfortable-looking couches were spread around the floor, and shining, alien-looking gadgets were mounted on the far wall.
Please, have a seat. How much aluminium do you have to sell?
22 tons.
Trigak nodded slowly, and the short, fleshy bristles on his face waved.
That is a decent amount. I run a small foundry, mostly producing trinium or other cheap alloys. I'm afraid I can only take 2 tons off your hands. I'm willing to pay 600 Pytek per ton.
Lana smiled at him. It was 50% more than the station's official prices.
That's pretty good. But at that price, you could buy it directly from the station, right? What's the catch?
The catch, as you say, is that Hammerhead monopolizes the aluminium trade. They buy all minerals in bulk, so incoming freighters with large shipments prefer to work directly with them rather than looking for small independent businessmen like me that can only buy a portion of their cargo. The station never sells its aluminium stock. Instead, they use it for their own foundries and reap a huge profit. On top of that, they impose a tax on all trade. I'll have to pay an additional 20% on top of whatever I pay you.
That's harsh. But surely, if aluminum is so hard to get, I'm sure it'll be worth a little extra for you.
She raised a hand as the Enthidlon's face clouded.
And on the bright side, we happen to get a tax waiver from the administrator himself, so you won't have to pay extra taxes for dealing with us. Surely that alone is worth a little more.
I can offer you 800 per ton, and that's as high as I'm willing to go. That's the price I usually pay on the streets. Except, it usually takes me days to get that much. Take the 800, you've earned yourself a good deal, and I won't have to run around. We both get out of this winners. What do you say?
I agree.
She looked at Nori with an arched eyebrow.
Sounds fair.
Excellent. I'll set up the transfer.
He stepped away and turned on a purple light console and started punching in commands. A moment later, he turned back to look at Nori.
I've set up the transaction. Please approve it. Once you do, the aluminium will be withdrawn from your ship and the Pytech will be deposited into your account.
We don't have an account.
Of course you do, my dear.
Patsy leaned in toward her with a winning smile.
Once our scanners indicated you didn't have one, I took the liberty of registering your ship and crew and opened a standard galactic account for you.
She smiled at everyone around, looking pleased with herself.
You might want to purchase a personal wrist console implant to access it at will, but even without one, you may access your account from every connected console throughout enlightened space. Your captain can grant or limit access to the funds.
Cool.
Please approve the transaction.
Done.
It was a pleasure doing business with you. You saved me a lot of time. If it was only this easy to procure nadirium, I could have taken a proper vacation.
What's nadirium?
Don't you know? It's what Hammerhead is famous for. It's one of the best-known locations for mining this stuff. Nadirium is a rare element that's the main component in several high-end alloys, like mithril and iridium. The kind of stuff you need in order to develop Grade D and C equipment. That's where the real money lies.
So, in theory, if we can get you some nadirium, how much would you be able to buy and at what rate?
If you can come buy some raw nadirium, I'll buy it all from you. And I'll pay you better than the station does. The standard price for a single kilogram of raw nadirium is 100 Pytech. I'll give you 120 for that.
We'll keep an eye open for you. You don't happen to need some palladium too, do you? We also have some nickel and iron.
Sorry, I only sell alloys, not buy them.
I thought as much. Thanks anyway.
They stepped out of the small house and found themselves back in the red atmosphere of the domed area.
What now?
Let's go to that bar Alzygo told us about. The one the pilots who infused the Earth stayed at. It's our first lead.
Right. We also need to find a way to earn a lot of Pytech fast. We need 72,000 to fix the null tunnel drive, or we'll risk it exploding on us every time we use it.
We should also check what we can buy here that will help the people back on Earth. I bet we could get a lot of cool stuff they can use.
We'll need even more Pytech for that then.
Didn't you hear what that alien told us? The closest source of aluminum is 10 light years away, but Earth is only 4. I'm guessing they don't know about us, or maybe they weren't allowed to approach due to that galactic law thing.
What's your point?
We have 400-ton containers in the cargo hold. If we fill them up back at Earth, we can sell them here for 160,000 Pytech, then use the money to buy stuff for Earth. Once the drive engine is fixed, a round trip should take about 3 or 4 days. Think about what it means. We can deliver hundreds of weapons, advanced technologies, heck, maybe even bring in some sort of anti-warp Terminator robot things.
Nathan looked up at the excited woman admiringly. Good plan.
I agree. But first, we still need to earn enough to fix the null tunnel drive. I don't want to gamble risking 2 more flights, even if the chance of engine failure is small.
I second that. Also, we should check out the prices for everything we may want to bring back with us. 160 grand sounds like a lot, but when you're talking about providing for an entire planet, it won't be enough. Let's first check on the bar Elzygo gave us.
Agreed. Patsy, we want to stop by a bar called... What was it called, Lana?
The asteroid.
Original.
Oh no, you don't want to go there. That bar is located in the Underdome. It's a bad place, especially for visitors.
Nori's eyes flashed in anger.
We don't care.
I know a much nicer bar, in a better part of the station. It's part of a very luxurious hotel nearby, and they always have rooms available.
She eyed Bulko with a suggestive smile. Nori balled both fists.
Now, you listen here.
Nori, let me handle this. Now listen here, Panda Bear. Be a good girl and take us where we want to go. Then we can talk about rewarding your services.
He winked at her playfully. Patsy moved so fast she was almost a blur, appearing at the large engineer's side, joining her arm with his.
Follow me.
She led them back to the tram station, and they boarded another capsule. The station sped past them again, and moments later they arrived at another dome. Its walls were made from a sort of transparent material that allowed the natural light of the stars to illuminate it. This new dome was smaller than the one they'd just left. The air felt cleaner, and the buildings were taller and sleeker in design. Their guide led them through several well-maintained streets, reaching a small complex of several exotic-looking restaurants. A 5-story building towered over the open plaza. Nori stopped abruptly as a holographic sign came into view, hovering above the tall building. Utopia Hotel.
What the hell is this?
Patsy leaned on Bulko, placing her head on his muscular arm.
I thought we could start with the rewarding part first.
You intentionally misled us? Not cool, lady.
Nori took a threatening step toward the beaming alien woman.
Nori, I'll handle it.
She's useless. All she cares about is...
I said I'll take care of it. Shall we go check if they have a vacancy, my dear?
There's nothing I'd like more.
Bulko put down the box he was carrying.
Then follow me.
He looked up steadily at his irked companions.
Don't worry. This won't take long.
Can you believe this shit?
Nori spat.
No.
Lana frowned.
What the hell just happened?
Nathan looked between the women with a frown of his own, not completely sure of the answer. Caddy simply grinned.
Looks like Big and Grumpy got himself a little exotic distraction. Lucky bastard.
Now that's what I call a sweet suite.
The place was spotless. Several glass surfaces hovered above the floor, holding a variety of bottles and refreshments. A huge, comfortable-looking mattress hovered in the corner, gently swaying in place. Patsy's eyes were full of desire as she took the large man's hand and guided him to sit on the mattress. His significant weight did not disturb the floating mass in the slightest. Patsy threw herself on the bed, somehow managing to lose her tight-fitting dress in the process, remaining in thin, lace-like lingerie.
May I give you a massage?
She purred, crawling on all fours toward the large man, like a cat on the prowl.
Been a while since I received one. Sure.
Patsy's movements became even more seductive as she moved behind the engineer's back. Then she rose to her knees behind him and put her hands on his shoulders. Her fingers started to expertly work the kinks out of his tight muscles. The large man closed his eyes with a contented sigh.
That's the stuff.
I'm glad Master enjoys himself.
Patsy's eyes sparkled as she purred the words. She bent down her head and ran her tongue over his neck as if tasting him.
Master's so sweet.
Bulko's eyes closed in pleasure.
Would Master like me to go a little further?
I haven't felt this good for... It feels like forever. Whatever you have in mind, show me what you want to do to me.
The woman smiled mischievously. Her fingers never stopped massaging the man's muscles, even as her smile broadened unnaturally, beyond human capability. Her lower lip split in half, revealing a row of small, octopus-like suction cups.
You know,
the engineer said, his eyes still closed in bliss.
This feels really great. It's been ages since my wife treated me like this. She always used to say that only she could love someone with an ugly mug like mine. And that's how I knew that you're full of shit.
A slender, robotic arm retracted back into his body as he turned around fully. The shirtless man got up to his feet, effortlessly lifting the kicking woman with one hand.
Goddamn space vampire. I knew from the moment you tried to seduce me you were up to no good. Good thing my mat comes with micro cameras attached, eh? It was meant for delicate engineering work, but it works just as well for watching your own back.
He shook her, causing her teeth to rattle and her limbs to flail.
Was this all a trap? Did Hyzar set us up?
No! Please, you... choke!
He loosened his grip a bit.
Start talking.
She looked at him with obvious hunger. Then her gaze dropped. Her entire body started to change, growing green scales all over. When it was over, the old Patsy was gone, and in her place stood a green-scaled woman with huge eyes, narrow lizard-like pupils, and a round fish-like mouth filled with small suction cups.
I'm a xenomorph.
The not Patsy explained weakly, looking up at the large man still holding her by her throat.
We change our appearance to something our victims find appealing, so we can get close enough to feed on their tech.
Planned on draining me dead, did you? You alien bitch?
No!
Her arms desperately flailed, trying to get his hands from her neck.
I would never do that. My species has been hunted for centuries for fear of doing just that. You gave me your permission, remember?
I never said you can bite and feed on me.
You said I could go a little further. True, I didn't specify what I was going to do, but I would have only taken a small bit, and you would have found it extremely pleasurable. We would have both gotten something out of the exchange.
I see.
The large man thought it over. Then, with an effortless swing, he tossed her back into the floating bed.
You are going to start talking, or I'm going to get really angry.
She bowed her head submissively.
Yes, master.
And don't give me any of that master crap. I have a name. It's Benjamin, but you can call me Bulko. Everyone does.
Yes, Benjamin.
Your name's not really Patsy York, is it?
No. I'm using an obfuscation implant.
What does that mean?
It allows me to determine how my name and race appears to others. You need a grade B or higher scanning implant to detect it.
Figured as much. Okay, Patsy. Start by telling me why you've been avoiding showing us the Underdome.
They know who I am down there. I have to be careful. My kind is hated by most other species. I have the Administrator's protection, but down there it doesn't go a long way. And I was also just hungry. And you smelled so good.
Hold on. You were eating the tech?
Not exactly. My race has a different method of absorbing tech than most other species. We must feed on living hosts. The process filters out anything but the purest particles, those that affect our brain directly. It makes us smarter, able to think clearer, and makes us more adaptable. It's an amazing feeling, but it comes with a downside. We must feed regularly. The longer we go without, the worse we get, and the craving becomes more powerful.
Great. So you're not just a space vampire alien, you're also a junkie.
He looked down at the submissive woman.
Tell you what, I'll cut you a deal.
You'll allow me to feed on you?
Shit, no. Here's the terms. You do what you were hired for. Show us around the station. No more goofing around. And you can have our scraps. That's the deal.
Scraps?
If things go the way I think they will, there'll be plenty of motherfucking aliens begging for a beating. Once they're out, you can have your way with them for all I care. What do you say?
That sounds interesting. But if I feed on someone without their consent and they report me, I'd be instantly marked as a criminal.
I didn't say our scraps have to be conscious when I hand them to you, did I?
I want to believe you, but you're out of your element here. You might be level 7, but if you go looking for trouble around here, you won't last a day.
Lady, we were all level 0 less than 2 weeks ago. Her large eyes widened even further. Then she smiled.
I knew there was something more to you and your crew than meets the eye. In that case, I think it would be interesting to work with you. I accept your terms.
Good. Now change back. The others don't need to know the details of our little meeting. I don't want to spoil the surprise of them seeing you feed on some poor sucker for the first time.
Patsy stood, her green scales receding to be replaced with smooth skin. She grinned back at him, the small suckers inside her mouth slowly transforming back into human teeth.
Sounds like fun.
This has been your first deep dive into Earth Force, Relict Legacy, Book 2, Episode 1. Written by Shemer Kuznits, introducing Alejandra LaFleur as Patsy, featuring Dory Sachs as Lana, and Annie Ellicott as Unity, Caddy, and Nori. Music by Aaron J. Morton. Sound design by Ahmed Mahmood. Editing and mastering by Richard Smith. Narrated and directed by Jeff Hayes. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Earth Force 2, Episode 2 and each subsequent episode will be available for purchase from Soundbooth Theater direct at soundbooththeater.com every third Thursday of the month until this book is over. To stay up to date on this, be sure to sign up for our newsletter. Love the story but can't wait for the next installations? The full audiobook with no sound effects and music, narrated by Jeff Hayes, is also available from Soundbooth Theater direct for just $10. Facebook groups are great for meeting other listeners with similar interests and finding more great audiobooks. To find more video game fiction, visit the Gamelit Society group, LitRPG Books, or the LitRPG Forum. If you want to find more from Soundbooth Theater, visit the Soundbooth Theater Live group. If you'd like to learn more about the author, Shemer Kuznits, visit www.shemerk.com. There, you can subscribe to his newsletter, find his other work, or join his Patreon to gain access to exclusive content. To stay up to date on upcoming audiobooks or to see us perform live, sign up for our newsletter at soundbooththeater.com. Text copyright 2019 by Shemer Kuznits. Production copyright 2021 by Soundbooth Theater. A Soundbooth Theater production.